Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first Bits and Bytes webinar of 2020. I'm Tracy Charlotte.
And I'm Martha Tournamine. Thank you for joining us this morning.
If you're watching this live this morning, just a couple of housekeeping tips before we get started. In order for us to track attendance to provide PD credit for anyone that signed up on My Learning Plan, please enter your name and say hello in the chat box.
And we have our team here monitoring the chat behind the scenes, so if you have any questions, feel free to type them to us throughout the webinar.
Now we're going to kick things off with an update on computer-based testing, and for that we send it over to Dan Molesky. Dan?
Thank you. In the area of computer-based testing, I'd like to start by talking about some important upcoming dates. This February 7th, Friday, we're going to be, ELA student data will be due to level 2. This means demo enrollment and program service data you would want to have loaded up to level 2 through the level 0 data warehouse. That'll make sure that any students that are currently enrolled and going to be taking the ELA test are loaded into NextEra admin in the next couple weeks. Any students that aren't submitted by this period of time, you'll have to manually enter into NextEra admin later. February 11th, we're going to be having the second day of the statewide simulation. So if you did participate the first time, you're participating again, just keep that date in mind. February 24th, that student data that was loaded earlier in the month to level 2 is going to appear in NextEra admin. You'll be able to input additional student information, start putting your students into classes, and really sort of getting NextEra admin ready to go for ELA testing next month. And then February 28th, again, that same thing that happened with ELA, you'll be loading your math student data up to level 2 to make sure that that information is there and ready to go for math testing later on in the spring. Next, I'd like to talk about the Questar Secure Browser. So as many of you who have tested in the past know, the browser is generally updated once a year, or SED checks around January to make sure that the current version is ready to go for testing. So SED has issued that go-ahead and told us that the current version of the secure browser that's up in NextEra admin is going to be the version that will be used both for the simulation and for live testing. You can see the information up here on the current browser version and some information on when those versions were last updated. Importantly, Windows was really the only browser version that was changed since the fall of 2019, so we always recommend you do check your devices to make sure you have the current browser version, but for many of you, you may not need to run updates because the current version was not changed recently, other than, again, the Windows version. Some other items about our CBT support structure for this year. So we've been sending out regular email communications to our list of CBT contacts. If you haven't received one of those communications, we've sent a few out this year already. Please just let me know. We can add you to that list to make sure that you're getting some of those regular updates and information on what's going on with computer-based testing. We're going to be having a CBT webinar and Q&A session on March 4th from 2 to 3. You can register for that through the MORIC website on the PD catalog. Next, we're working with SED on some testing scenarios. We've given them specific scenarios of what happens if this happens on a testing day, what should we do to respond to that, should we keep students testing, should we do other things. So they're working with that, and they're going to be giving us that document before testing begins so that we have a little more information on how we should be best supporting you during the testing process. We'll be running our CBT Command Center again this year, so we'll be having everyone who's involved in support of computer-based testing in a room together. We'll be giving you more information about how to reach out to the Command Center during the coming weeks and providing you some information on what exactly we would be doing to support you, of course. Finally, we've been working with SED this year to get additional avenues of support for specifically how the RIC works with you and how you work with Questar and the state to get support if there is a technical issue going on during testing. So we'll be providing more information for you on that in the future as well. But just know that we should, as a RIC, have additional ways to reach out on your behalf, both to Questar and the state, to make sure that issues are dealt with in a speedy fashion and that we can make sure that testing continues. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. We know a lot of school districts have been asking questions about technology procurement through the RIC. So next on our agenda, we're going to send it over to our newest member of our technology planning team, Matt Knapp, who is joined this morning by Maria Rocker.
Thank you, Tracy and Martha. Here with Maria, I just have a few questions to go over as far as our procurement. So here we go. What are the methods that are currently available to support the procurement needs of the school districts?
I would say we currently have 3 different methods to support school districts. The first are the contracts that we negotiate here at the regional level. And then we also work with our statewide contract consortiums at other centers within this space. The one that districts would be most familiar with would probably be the Erie One MORIC Instructional Contract Consortium. And we're looking at expanding that work as we work together on a collaborative approach to procurement. And then the last are cross contracts, and that is contracts that have to do with other RICs and BOCES who support those resources that may not be available through the contract consortiums or regional contracts that we negotiate.
Okay, great. Would you describe the collaborative roadmap that's taking place statewide to support procurement for the school districts?
Yeah, I would say right now there's obviously a lot of work being done in this space. For example, within management softwares, we're looking at the Part 121 regulations and reopening all those contracts. We're looking at doing the large contracts around like Google, Microsoft, and Apple. For districts who may not be aware yet, we are going to be talking at planning meetings about the Google Bridge Agreement, and planners will be bringing out some resources around that for districts to sign. In terms of instructional, we're looking first at also reopening the existing contracts to build in the Part 121 regulations, and then also looking at, in the long term, what we're going to do around the click wrap space. So there's a lot of work being done collaboratively and also at the regional level.
That's great. What technology, hardware, and software are currently available for us at the MORIC?
Right now, that list is actually located in a document that we create and keep updated on a regular basis as any new contracts are approved by our local board or as they're added to the statewide contract consortium. So that list is available for all school districts, and it's updated, has the date rate on it, so if you do happen to pull it off and take a look at it, you can go back out and see if there have been any added since the last time you had pulled that information.
Okay. So how do we go about accessing that information?
It's accessible on the MORIC website, so if you click on Services and Contact right off of our main page, that will take you out to a link where you can download the PDF. So it's pretty easily accessible for everyone.
Perfect. Are there any currently open RFPs? And if so, what are they?
So right now in the region, we're looking at focusing our regional efforts on reopening our existing contracts from now until July 1. So we anticipate a lot of work within that space. As far as new RFPs, there are some that are being done at the statewide level around the spaces of parent communication, which would include tools like Parent Square, Remind. The second one is around sports management, and that would be tools like Huddle or Family ID that has to do with registration. And then the third is around facilities, which is pretty broad, and that's definitely its intention, but that's for tools that have to do with inventory solutions or other products that help support the facilities and planning side of school districts.
Okay. When do we anticipate it being available?
We anticipate most of those being available for the July 1 school year start. So 2021, if there are some contracts that are negotiated in advance of that, we would certainly look at the possibility of doing pilots or supporting them earlier.
Okay, perfect. If we have a product we want supported, what information do we have to have before we go to Tracy or Martha?
This is a common question. There didn't used to be a lot of questions asked when you called and said, do you support this product? But now we do ask some specific questions around implementation timeline. What are key features and functionality that you're looking for? Are there other similar tools that maybe you've used in the past that, while maybe not exactly the same, are fairly close to that? And that helps guide our conversation then in terms of what other options do we have available locally as a region, or what other tools are available through the contract consortiums, and then making a decision from there as far as how we can best procure on behalf of school districts.
Okay, perfect. Are there any regional pilots taking place in the region?
There are 2 regional pilots taking place right now. We have one around parent communication. So Parent Square has been a pretty significant ask from a lot of our school districts. So we're doing a pilot with one school district in that space, and also within mobile device management. So JAMF is the tool that's being piloted as well, and that's being done in one school district. And we do anticipate taking those to our 793 committee meeting in March.
Perfect. Now, who do we contact about getting information on the pilots?
If you do have questions about pilots, you can reach out to myself, of course, or you can reach out to Martha and Tracy. There is a pretty structured process now for looking at pilots, and we balance out what resource do we have available internally, what are the asks from across the region that make sense to do a more global pilot, to take these tools or potential tools to 793.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Maria. We'll send it back to Tracy and Martha.
Okay, thanks Matt and Maria. And now we'd like to take a few minutes to highlight an instructional technology project from one of our local school districts. Let's go to Rome Free Academy in the Rome City School District, where a student-run video production studio is being built to engage the community in a new way.
Journalism and nighttime students were given the opportunity to go beyond the printed press and evolve with digital and video media.
We get to be more creative here at RFA and not just be creative in the classroom, but be independent and work as a team here in the studio and create videos, and newspapers, and materials for the whole school and for the city, the school district.
Students at RFA, under the guidance of Mrs. Hoskins, work at the new Night Network studio. We started off with an interview with Rome Superintendent Peter Blake. We are starting out slow and learning the ropes under Carl Maganero of the Mohawk Regional Information Center.
The new studio will offer our students more of an expansion on the horizons, from a printed form of media to a digital form of media, or video and broadcasting through Mr. Maganero and his team.
We will be in charge of reserving the room to do interviews with teachers, students, and administration, setting up the studio and testing it before. Soon a mini lab will be set up so students can produce and edit their own videos. Stories and videos will be hosted in our new website using Google Sites.
Having access to a studio here at RFA will not only give more people opportunities, but people who have been doing all the editing, like myself, on my own and trying to create a home studio, to be able to have one here at RFA, it will give them a lot more accessibilities to equipment that they might not have. And if they want to go to college in a field, this will give them a head start so they can test the waters if they do decide on this is what they want to do or not want to do. And this is part of my career path, so I'm glad that I got to have this opportunity my senior year.
With the right guidance and dedication, RFA will get the chance to watch this studio grow.
Thank you to Carl Manganero and the students at Rome for putting that video together for us. Now we're going to bring in Eric Fiola to talk about one of the new services MORIC has.
All right, thanks, Martha, Tracy. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. The MORIC is working with a new. Let me just come over here. There we go. All right. The MORIC is working with a new vendor partner in the facilities management space called Master Library. There are two different modules within Master Library. There's ML Schedules and ML Work Orders. So ML Schedules is a facility use request and scheduling tool that has the ability to automatically create work orders based on incoming requests. It has a tiered approval process that allows different users to approve incoming facility requests. And the system can automatically generate email notifications, and it even has the ability to generate invoices for those occasions when a district may need to charge some type of facility use fee. Another really exciting feature of the ML Schedules module is its ability to sync with other schedulers and calendars that you may already use, including Schedule Galaxy, Office 365, Google, and the standard iCal format. So that's ML Schedules. The second module from Master Library is called ML Work Orders, and as you'd expect, this allows users to generate standard work order tickets. The application has the ability to auto-assign tickets to users based on the type of request that comes in. So for example, standard maintenance requests can be separated from technology work orders and assigned to the appropriate staff members. ML Work Orders can also log inventory asset tags and catalog physical hardware with an image, a QR code, or a variety of other tagging methods. And finally, this tool also has functionality that allows you to automatically generate work orders for preventative maintenance. So if you have a system that needs a software update every couple of months, you can program that into the system so a ticket can remind you and send you an email to the appropriate staff member automatically. So that's a look at our new service offerings, ML schedules, and ML work orders for Master Library. If you're looking for any additional information on either of these two modules, you can reach out to Tracy or Martha.
Okay, thanks so much, Eric. Districts will soon have some access to an inventory tool that's being developed through RIC 1. This tool is meant to assist districts in keeping their current software inventory updated and to identify staff that will need training. It will also link to third-party vendor software privacies, which will help districts to be in compliance with New York State's Parents' Bill of Rights. Currently, the MORIC is working with the RIC 1 team on account creation as well as developing a smooth rollout process. We will update the region as soon as this is available.
Now let's take a look at another instructional technology project happening right here in the MORIC region. We're going to go to N.A. Walbrin Elementary School in Oriskany Central School District, where students and teachers are participating in the Hour of Code.
Again this year, the N.A. Walbrin Elementary School in Oriskany participated in the Hour of Code, but they wanted to do this year a little bit different. Here's how.
Benefits our students in many ways. We partner the students up with their classroom partners, and we're building relationships. So we have the older students teaching the younger students. We do have technology classes for our older students, so this gives them a way to reinforce what they've learned. It also will help them as they go through the high school with coding, learning the different types of technology. They get to think creatively. They get the experience to actually see what's out there and what they can use and what they can do with the technology.
In Miss Dashkowitz's class for technology, we have like these little like robots that we can program.
The Spheros.
Yeah, the Spheros. We've been doing those. Those are really fun.
From Spiros, Osmos, and Probots, students were hands-on this year and really enjoying themselves and learning at the same time.
Osmos, because you get to code with them and they're very easy to use. They're fun to use because you get to code them in different ways and you get to use them with shapes and all different type of things. In ELA class, we've been on our Chromebooks and there's different activities we doing. Like my favorite was Flappy Bird. We designed like what we want to compete against and like how hard it is, and we can like change what it is, like lasers or cannons, something like that, and we pick how fast it goes. And I like it because we get to be creative and do whatever we want with it while we're learning.
In the future, we have an instructional focus team that focuses on just technology and learning. They are planning another STEAM event. We always do Curiosity in April. So this year we'll have Be Curious, and we're going to do a STEAM event. And again, all our students will be participating.
I was happy to participate in it because it's a very good way to learn how to do different things and how technology basically works.
Lots of great things happening. So here's a look at some upcoming more professional learning events. Later today from 12 to 1, there will be a School Tool Lunch and Learn webinar. On February 11th from 10 to 11, there will be a ClearTrack Coffee Talk webinar. And both of those events happen monthly, so make sure you check those out. Coming up on February 13th, take a deep dive into data with an in-person session being held in our campus in Verona from 10 until noon. At the end of February and the beginning of March, our admin systems team will present a school tool scheduling seminar. The first is being held on February 27th at the Costello Training Center in Oneida, and the second will be held on March 3rd at Jeff Lubosi's. Using data to inform instruction will take place on March 5th, and then finally, 3 data warehouse user groups will be held across the MORIC region. March 17th at Jeff Lubosi's in Watertown, March 18th at OHM Bosie's in New Hartford, and March 19th at the Costello Center in Oneida. For more information or to register for any of those events, visit MORIC.org and click on the PD calendar right in the upper right-hand corner of the page. And now for an update on upcoming planning meetings. We will send it back over to Maria.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have some annual planning meeting updates to share with you. And every year we look at these annual planning meetings and we think about how can we actually enrich them? How can we make them stronger for you as a school district to promote meaningful and collaborative conversations? This year, Martha and Tracy have worked to put together information from across all teams at the RIC to support those planning conversations in your school district. In terms of what that documentation looks like, we have a new resource called the Land Planning Document that we will be sharing with you at commitment time. And many of you have seen this resource already throughout the fall as we provided it at data protection user groups, in small group conversations, and then also in other meetings that we've had for superintendents and technology leaders across the region. This document, though, today we just want to take a little bit of a deep dive into so you know what to expect when you get to your planning meeting. This table of contents is an overview of all of the sections that are included within this resource and include a bandwidth overview, a network overview, and other resources around SSL certificates, VPN accounts, and then diving into servers and backups, wireless and switch inventory, active inventory, including all of the equipment that you purchase through the RIC, and then equipment maintenance and the licensing that you purchase through the RIC, as well as then a software inventory from across teams, whether it's an administrative system, an instructional system, a data system, or a technical system. And then finally, we've built in an analysis and recommendations page that's tailored at both the regional level and also the district level. In terms of the long-term goal for this particular resource, obviously one of the biggest questions we anticipate receiving is around whether or not you can get an editable copy of this. And is it a comprehensive inventory of everything in my school district? The answer to the last question around a comprehensive inventory is no. This really is meant to be a supplemental resource around what the RIC actually has access to. And that means that if you purchased it through us, we want to ensure that you know everything that you've purchased through us in order to be able to add it into the district-created comprehensive inventory. In addition to that, the electronic version itself isn't going to be editable. So you will receive this in PDF form. However, there are 2 spreadsheets that you can request at the district planning meeting that the planners will be able to provide to you. The first is a servers and backups spreadsheet that you'll be able to look at all of the elements of your servers and backups, and then an active inventory sheet of all of the technologies that you currently have purchased through the RIC. Those 2 spreadsheets will be editable, and you can use them and manipulate the information and build them and combine them into your district's comprehensive inventory. In terms of the long-term goal for this resource, obviously, with other tools kits that we created, like the data toolkits, we at some point anticipate being able to build this into a dashboard that's accessible for school districts. So you'll be able to log in at any time, not just once a year, to gain access to this information right at your fingertips. We do anticipate that's probably a 3 to 5 year goal, but we also wanted to let you know it's on the roadmap for the future. In addition to that, the other planning meeting components will remain relatively the same. So we're working on putting together your commitment forms, district sign-offs, and one other piece that the planners will be bringing with them is the Google Bridge agreement. And they'll be talking a little bit more about what that looks like and whether or not each individual district is going to opt into that agreement. So that choice is really up to you. In terms of getting ready and preparing for this annual planning meeting, we do recommend that you take this resource, the new land planning document, and sit down as a leadership team to talk through some of the different components of it, draft out some key questions that you may have, and really be thoughtful about coming to the planning meeting prepared to have a collaborative conversation for moving forward. So we look forward to meeting with each of you, and you will receive an email shortly from either Martha or Tracy to get these meetings scheduled. And when those meetings are scheduled, you will receive this document as well as several others in advance of the planning meeting. And back to you, Martha.
Thanks, Maria. Finally, this morning, we'd like to introduce our newest members of our MORIC team. We have Katie Harp, who has joined our admin systems team. We have Becky Krasko and Stephen Shore, who have joined our technical team. Welcome.
Okay, and that's all we have for this morning. Thank you so much for watching.
If you haven't already done so, please remember to record your name in the chat box if you're watching us live so we can record your attendance in my learning plan.
And as always, if you have any questions about anything that you watched this morning, feel free to reach out to either myself, Martha, or any of the MORIC admin team. Thank you so much.